Remember way back to like 4 years ago when Karl Rove posited the dawn of a permanent Republican majority? It does not seem to have worked out that way. Today, 2 days after Barack Obama's sweeping election victory, leaders within the Republican Party are describing their current state of affairs as, quote, rock bottom. But the Republican Party and the conservative movement are like a shark and its beloved remora. And tonight, the remora, the conservative movement, is meeting in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia to plan their return to power. We will have more on that in a moment. Every 4 years, the New York Times puts together a trend map after the presidential election showing which parts of the country are shifting more Democratic and which are shifting more Republican. This year's shift shows the changes from Karl Rove's America circa 2004 to now. See all that blue? That's where people voted more Democratic than they did the last time. So, Carl, about that permanent majority idea? The Republican Party is, at this moment, engaged in a battle royale, a civil war over its own identity. Will the GOP become the culture war, divide the country, crusading, wedge-issue-y party? Or will they be a new-look, centrist, bigger tent party? Are the Republicans still not done with the neocons and the make the world better through more and longer wars agenda? Or do they head back toward Pat Buchanan isolationism? Well, right now it's all and neither. Right now it's a party in disarray with no clear leadership, no clear ideology, and no clear direction. Don't believe me? Well, today the GOP's number 2 guy in the House, Roy Blunt, stepped down from his leadership post, and he said on his way out the door this, quote, I can tell you more problems about more members of Congress than you'll ever want to hear. I can tell you more reasons not to do something than you'll ever want to hear. Wow. And that wasn't even the most damning Republican quote of the day. That came from Republican Congressman Thaddeus McCotter, the head of the Republicans' House Policy Committee. He said this, quote, we're at rock bottom. We are now free to start thinking again. We are now free to start thinking again, acting again, and doing the right thing by what our constituents and our country need. Free to start thinking again? Why did you stop? What do you do in politics when you find yourself at rock bottom? Sometimes you convene a blue ribbon commission. Sometimes you declare a desire to spend more time with your family. In this case, conservatives have decided to call a summit, which means at least free food, right? About 20 influential conservative leaders held a meeting in Virginia today at the home of right-wing media watchdog Brent Bozell. Among those attending the conservative confab, anti-tax crusader Grover Norquist. He's the guy who famously said he wanted to get government down to the size where he could drown it in a bathtub. Also, the Federalist Society honcho Leonard Leo and Tony Perkins from the Family Research Council. Their goal? To forge a new direction for the Republican Party, whose only agreed-upon goal at this point seems to be to find a way to go after Barack Obama. That's okay. That's what loyal opposition is supposed to do. But just in case this summit idea doesn't quite solve their what do we stand for problem, the Republican Party apparently has a backup plan. The party has set up a website appealing for suggestions on how to get their act together. Also, according to the Guardian newspaper, they are setting up a hotline so you can phone in your ideas for the future of conservatism and the Republican Party. To a hotline. One of the more immediate and pressing questions for the GOP right now is what happens to Sarah Palin. Today, the vice presidential pick who keeps on giving gave some more in the form of newly reported details about McCain's life during Palin time. According to the New York Times, Palin was, quote, the catalyst for a civil war between her campaign and Mr. McCain's. Among the new revelations, Senator McCain reportedly only even spoke to Palin occasionally. Remember when he said he turned to her for advice on foreign policy all the time? And the rift may or may not have led to the firing of one of McCain's foreign policy advisors, Randy Schuneman, the former lobbyist for the nation of Georgia, who appears to have taken a political shine to Governor Palin. According to the Times, McCain advisors were concerned that Schuneman leaked to the media damning stories about the McCain campaign messing with Palin. 2 senior members of the McCain campaign told the Times Schuneman was fired, but Schuneman himself said he was never dismissed. Another McCain aide today confirmed that Schuneman wasn't technically fired, but the campaign turned off his BlackBerry and killed his email account. Which, if you're a campaign staffer, I mean, it's kind of like being a race car driver who gets your car taken away. What do you do with yourself? And then there's this little nugget. Top McCain aides reportedly told Fox News that Palin did not know Africa was a continent. She thought it was a country. And she was reportedly stumped when asked to name the countries involved in NAFTA. Here's a hint. NAFTA stands for the North American Free Trade Agreement. Us, Mexico, Canada. Palin's spokeswoman released a statement today calling the accusations, quote, sickening and not true. Well, true or not, these attacks on Palin are embarrassing. Not because the governor may be profoundly uninformed, but because the attacks are coming from within the Republican Party, from within the campaign she just left. The party that's always united, right? It always wins elections by being so united. So will Sarah Palin be the solution to Republican problems? Will the conservative confab at Brent Bozell's weekend house in Virginia result in an Alaskan hockey mom being the mouthpiece for the new right-wing agenda? This answer, like so many others, can be found in an anagram. Guess what happens when you rearrange the letters in the word Republican? It can spell Cure B. Palin. You can't make this stuff up. Although I did stare really hard for a really long time at the word Republican to figure that one out.